Hello and welcome. And in this video, we are taking up August 2023 paper 1, and I shall be taking up English as language 1. So let's dig in. So this is the paper which has been downloaded from the CTET website. Question 91, which starts with the pedagogy. So question 91 is choose the strategy that matches the example. I focus on the language I use to make sure that it is correct. So what are we talking about out here? We are talking about self-monitoring. Translanguaging is when you switch between two languages. This is not memorizing or revising. The child is focusing on the language that he or she uses. So this is self-monitoring. Question 92, students in class 2 sing a song, head and shoulders, knees and toes, and they touch that correct part. Which method is the teacher using? So this is called TPR, or total physical response. This is when you use words which are movement based or things based, and the child goes around touching that. So using total physical response, this is a method of teaching second language at a primary level. Question 93, students work in groups to answer 5 questions about vocabulary from the previous unit. Then they exchange questions with another group and try to answer the questions. So this is a form of peer assessment. They're assessing each other. This is not self-assessment, or they're not giving feedback, and this is not a reading assessment. So this is a peer assessment. Question 94, I like it when the teacher gives me a card with a word or phrase in it, and that I have to act it out for the rest of the class. So find the learner's comment with the learner's preferences. I remember language well when I am kinesthetically involved. So this is the correct answer, because the child likes to act it out. So anything which involves movement will be kinesthetics, not when she sees it, hears it, or memorizes it. Question 95, the assertion and reason based. All children who enter school are competent language users according to their age. This is absolutely correct. And due to language and cultural diversities, they are unable to demonstrate their abilities. This is also correct, and the correct reason for A. For example, if a Hindi speaking child comes into an English speaking school, there are cultural diversities, language diversities. The child's ability is not expressed so well. So both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation of A. Question 96. Manjeet of class 5 speaks in different ways to his teacher, to his friend, and also to a 2-year-old child. It means that Manjeet knows how to use language in different social contexts. What is this attribute known as? So this is known as pragmatics, or being practical. This is semantics is with respect to meanings. Naturalistic has nothing to do out here. An act of speech is an overall question. So this is called pragmatics. A mother notices that her child sometimes says things that she has never heard adults or her siblings say. Mother is confused as she believes that the child learns language by imitating people in her family and immediate surroundings. What is her belief resonate with? So her belief resonates with behaviorism. Behaviorism thinks that a child learns language only by imitation. The mother is thinking of behaviorism. The set of skills that develop before children begin formal reading instruction and which provides the foundation for later academic skill. This is called emergent literacy. So this will include the child being able to maybe understand that alphabets are written, knowing which way that the child you have to hold the book, the fact that you have to move the book from right to left, or sentences are written from left to right. So understanding of those things are examples of emergent literacy. Question 99, a grandmother loves to read out stories from books to young children at home, and in this way expose them to new books and new ideas. The children are actively engaged in this process. What is this technique known as? So this is called dialogic reading. So you take a topic, and with the help of an adult, you discuss, you ask questions, you keep on talking about that story or that topic. This is called dialogic reading. Question 100, an approach to teaching reading that starts with basic elements like letters and phonemes and teaches children that phonemes can be combined into words before moving on to reading. So this is the bottom up approach. You're starting with letters and sounds and then moving on to words and sentences. Assertion and reason. Use of phonetic spelling slows down the ability to learn spelling correctly. This is absolutely incorrect. This is not true. So A is false, but R is true will be the answer. Let's just still check what the R says. When young children use spellings that they invented rather than conventional spelling, it does not slow down their ability to learn to spell correctly. This is true. In the childhood, they do invent their own spellings, as in uh, English spellings are a little difficult and not always logical, so they will invent and write something, but they'll learn the correct spelling very fast. So A is false, R is true. 102, in learning a new language, many students often lack confidence when speaking due to the language's unique pronunciation rules. One way to overcome this problem is correcting errors. No, that will not be great. Letting children read aloud in the class, that is okay. Using game like activities, so this would be the best answer. And conducting special speech therapy, so children don't need therapy really with a counselor. So game like activities will help the child to use the language naturally and increase their confidence also. 103, a teacher of class 3 is presenting new vocabulary to the learners. Which one of the following is an effective way to present the new vocabulary? The teacher should write its meaning on the blackboard. No, by heart, nothing by heart we want. The teacher should tell them the antonyms of the word and give meanings in their languages. Not such a good idea. They should give them concise definitions. So definitions we definitely don't want. So the teacher should try and explain the word's meaning in the situation. So in context learning would be the best. 104, learning of a language is a matter of skill. So language learning, remember, is a skill. Uh, Learning is not acquisition. They're two different things. It's a process product. So basically it is a matter of a skill. 105, match the ways of reading with what the readers do. So what do you do? So there's predicting, inferring, deducting or deducing, intensive reading and identifying. So the correct answer is 2. And let's just go through what it means. So predicting is 5, which is when they use titles and pictures to give themselves the idea about what the text is about. So when you use when you kind of skim through the book and you try to figure out what is this whole story about, that is predicting. Inferring is inferring attitude. It is they are determining how the writers feel based on how they write. Deducing means they use part of the text to understand the unfamiliar part. Intensive reading would be focusing on the language, that is D will be 4, and identifying text organization. We'll talk about looking at how the information is structured. So this is a question which would have taken you a long time but even if you know 2 or 3 of them, you can kind of get the options. So from question 106, we start with the paragraph. This is the first one, which is about Geeta Garud who goes to Mizoram. I'm moving on directly to the question. So question 106 is, which of the following statement is incorrect? Traveling alone in distant Mizoram at the age of 69 was enjoyable. Yes. Was a novel experience. Yes. She was breathing an air of freedom. Yes, she mentions that because the last line says she's relishing a sense of freedom all over again. So the one which is incorrect is she was taking a big risk. So this is incorrect. Question 107, Garud traveled alone as basically no one agreed to accompany her. Here she says that she had asked friends and family, but no, there were no takers. Which of the following statement is true and false? Initially, she did not like to go alone. That is true. She wanted only a friend to go with her. So A is true and B is false. Option Study the following statements. She practiced only for a day before dancing. So no, it was impromptu. She danced impromptu. So impromptu means no practice. Horse riding is a courageous skill is correct. Her experience as an athlete helped her. So B and C are true, but A is false. Would be the correct option. Which of the following statement is not true? Garud's family owned a farm at Koregaon. So they do mention her farm at Koregaon. During lockdown, Garud felt isolated and lonely. That is true. A friend might not have let her wade into the river, and walking on a narrow ledge is an easy task. So we know definitely that this is not correct. A friend may or may not have, so we don't know. So we cannot say that that is true or not. Question 111, and I realized how traveling was solo. The underlined expression, what is it? So it is a principal clause. Clause would have given it away, but this is a principal clause. 112, Garud had asked friends and family but found no takers. So this is a conjunction, but is a conjunction. She was hesitant. Choose the word nearest in meaning. So nearest in meaning was she was disinclined. She did not wish to do this. And relishing a challenging trek, choose the opposite word. So antonym, so opposite of relishing is, so the opposite of relishing is disliking. So there are always 3 or 4 questions in a comprehension which you can do even without looking at the paragraph. So that leaves you with only 5-6 questions. So always read the questions first and then go back and do the contextual questions. That way it becomes much faster. We now move on to the poems. The poem is called Gather Ye Rosebuds While Ye May. And I am not going through the poem, but basically this is a poem addressed to a woman saying that find love and get on with life. You will become old soon. So let's do the questions. The poem is addressed to, so it is addressed to a young woman, not to an old unmarried woman. So it is addressed to a young unmarried woman, but that is not mentioned, but not to an old woman, because we know it says gather your rosebuds as you may. So the woman is still young. The example of the sun is given to, why has it been given? So it describes the fast passage of time and not for warmth and setting. So if you look at the poem, tomorrow, the glorious lamp of heaven, the higher he is getting, sooner will his race be run. So we are talking about his time running away. What does the poet tell us about young age? It says that time will soon pass and it is time to find one's love. So both are given. It's not only that time will pass soon or it is time to find one's love. We should go and find love because time will pass soon. Which of the following statement is true or false? Gathering rosebuds is the same as enjoying one's life. This is true. The sun can't keep shining on forever. So both A and B are true. And this same flower that smiles today, identify the figure of speech. So this is personification because the flower is smiling. And the final question is identify the figure of speech in the glorious lamp of heaven. So that is a metaphor because the sun has directly been called a lamp of heaven. So that was Language 1 English from the 2023 paper. If this was helpful, to like the video and subscribe to my channel. Follow me for your CTET preparations.